Well, thanks for joining us this week. The topic is yours. Sure do appreciate it. We've got a different show for you this week. We're chock full of guests. First guest is going to be our brand new sponsor, YellowRoseAmps.com. Be sure to check that out. Great guitar amplifier company. We interviewed those guys, had a good time with them. Second segment is we talk to Engel Jones. He's the host of a podcast called 12 Minute Convos. He's interviewed 1,100 people, and he did it in 3 months. Absolutely crazy. So we learned a little bit about how that actually went down. Third segment is Courtney. She's our new streaming media correspondent. So if you're curious about what's coming out on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, etc., that's a segment for you. No mailbag this week. We just didn't have the time for it. So anyway, Clint, let's go ahead and roll it. All right, welcome to The Topic Is Yours. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. You can check us out at iTunes, which you're probably already doing. Subscribe to us there. Check us out at facebook.com/The Topic Is Yours podcast. Be sure and tweet us at The Topic Is Yours. Occasionally, we will read some of those tweets on the air, respond to them. Typically, they are not nice. They're pretty derogatory towards me, and I'm cool with that. That's fine. We roll with the punches here at The Topic Is Yours. And, of course, tell all your friends. And check out our website, thetopicisyours.com. You know, we've got, if you've been to our website, we've got a tab up there that says, Become a Sponsor. And we've got one here today, folks. And I'm very excited about it. We've got the guys from Yellow Rose Amplification in here. Is that right, guys?
You got it.
Whoa, in unison. Thank you for doing that. We've actually got two guys, not one. So we've got Blake Cunningham and Justin Matlock. Thanks, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
The pleasure is all yours.
You know, Dave,
so far it's not.
I've known you for a long time, and I've always said this about you, but I've always thought you had a face for radio. And I'm glad to see that you're using your potential, man. It's good.
Yeah. Well, Clint, can you edit that out, please? Thank you. Blake, Justin, thanks for being here.
You betcha.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree with you. So, guys, Yellow Rose Amplification. So, I'm not a great guitarist, but I've played for a long time. I had the great pleasure of jamming through your amp here recently, and let me tell you, it's not just because you're a sponsor. I'm telling you, I was impressed. I love it. So,
awesome. Thanks
a lot for that. So, tell me, how'd you guys get it started with this?
So, you know, we started talking about it, and one day I was telling Justin, I said, you know, I want to design guitar amplifiers. That's why I came back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we were talking one day, and he was like, man, if you ever get this going, you know, I want to do this with you. Let's do it. And so I was like, all right, we'll make a run at it, you know, and you know, life happened, and a few years later we got out of school and we kept in touch and everything, and I got designing
a few jobs
and started designing and you know, doing some things. And one day I texted Justin, I said, man, I think I'm finally onto something. He goes, what the heck? He's like, man, I thought we were doing this together. And I said, yep, we are. So
we are
come
now.
on, bud, let's do it. So
awesome.
So that's kind of how it started. So about 2014, we started making our first amp, and
Yellow Rose.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah.
So why amps, though? I mean, obviously, I know that you probably like the electronics and the science behind it, so to speak.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's so many great amps out there. What sets yours apart from, you know, Marshalls and Voxes and Fenders and Matchlesses, and the list goes on?
It looks better.
It does look good.
It does have a cool lit up logo and everything.
Yeah.
No, you know, I think a lot of the things that you can buy, you know, just go to a store and purchase. You know, most of them, they've gotten so big they've kind of forgotten about the components and the things that make them sound good. You know, they've got good circuit designs, but they've started getting cheap components, trying to hit price points. And, so one of the things that Justin and I, you know, we said we were not going to compromise on parts, and so, you know, we pay top dollar for the parts we buy.
Mm-hmm.
They're expensive to build, but you know, the sound quality because of that is a lot better.
Yeah.
You get a lot better. You know, the signal that you get comes out a lot smoother than what you would get out of a mass-produced amplifier because of it. So.
Are there some amps that you drew inspiration from? What are some styles of music that you that are ideal for this amp? You talk to me a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
So I think the biggest thing, you know, when we were listening to the sounds and the things we were looking for, we were going for the old sound. You know, a lot of the amplifiers
Classics.
today, I mean, you know, I wouldn't say, I mean, the amp is not really based on anything. You know, it's really kind of its own deal.
Yeah.
We've definitely taken ideas and things that have come about, in certain amplifiers and said, oh, that would be cool to use here in this particular spot. But as far as being designed after a certain amplifier, we didn't do that. But the one thing that I've always felt that modern amplifiers, like probably from the 70s on, let's say, they just sound too bright. They're not warm enough. Yeah. And so we designed the amp to kind of be a little bit warm, but to have the full low range.
I was going to say, one of the things I love about the amp is just how simple the overall layout is. It's like, it shouldn't take much. We've got a volume and we've got a tone. You know what I mean? And that should be it, and let the guitar do the rest. And so it just does it beautifully. It's awesome.
Well, it's definitely something like when we chose it with 10 watts, low wattage amp. Yeah. And, I'm not a good enough player that anybody's going to let me turn it up. So,
Tell me about it, dude.
It's and it's simple. We wanted to make sure that nobody could make it sound bad.
Right.
We wanted it so that we could throw any type of pedal at it, and it would sound good. As long as we had everything else, we kept everything simple. We kept all the extra stuff out of it. Being able to throw pedals at it, or just turning it up for a clean sound, or really cranking it and getting it to break up, that's what we were wanting to go for. We wanted it to be very versatile for just about anybody to use.
Yeah, you did it. It was awesome. It's a really good amp. Speaking of being too bright, you talk about that. I remember my first tube amp was a crate tube amp that I bought used for like a couple $100, and I was so excited until I got it home and plugged it in. I didn't even I bought it at a pawn shop, and I was like, oh, it's got tubes? I'm doing it. I didn't know what I was doing. That was the brightest, most brittle sounding hunk of junk this side. It was in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, it was terrible. I could turn everything down, and it would still just make your ears bleed in a terrible way. So I really appreciate the fact that you solved that problem. You did the point-to-point wiring. You plug it in. Even I can make it sound good, which means it's a really good amp. So great work, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay, so we've got kind of a special show. We've got another guest coming up here just momentarily after the break. His name's Engel Jones. We'll get to that in a minute, but he's an awesome guy. He has interviewed like 1,200 people, and so we talked to him a little bit about that experience. And then at the very end, in lieu of the mailbag, I guess what we should say, we've got a new correspondent here, our Netflix correspondent. She is awesome, and we can't wait to unveil her. So stick around to the very end.
Thank you for listening to the Topic is Yours podcast. If you've been enjoying the show, please take a moment to rate us and also subscribe so that you can stay up to date with the shows. And be sure to check out thetopicisyours.com for past episodes, additional content, sweet merch, and to suggest a guest to be interviewed. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Engel Jones, thank you so much for joining us again tonight. This is our first Skype interview, and we're very excited. So, Engel, tell us, where are you located in the world, please?
I'm in the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the name of the islands. They don't go as one or the other, right? It's Trinidad and Tobago, but I live specifically in Trinidad right now.
Specifically in Trinidad. So, have you lived there your entire life?
I have. It's. I'm a Caribbean guy. I'm an islander.
You sound like an islander. I love that. I think that's really cool.
Thanks. You sound a bit like an islander, though, but a little, westernized. Is that correct?
I'll tell you what, I really, I've always considered myself an islander. I've lived on an ocean of grass my entire life, but in a way, that's like an island, right? Maybe?
Yeah, we could do that.
The United States, that's just basically a very large island, otherwise known as a continent, but we'll go with that. So sweet. But yeah, no, I'm located in beautiful Oklahoma. It's a wonderful place, let me tell you. Nice and warm. So what do you do in the islands? I mean, okay, so my stereotypical view of the islands is you hang out, you surf, you eat coconut. Where am I wrong?
Yeah, you're good. One guy messaged me today. He added me on Facebook. So I said, because of the mutual friends, I added him. And it was interesting. He said, so what has you busy? And immediately I responded, hey, I'm an islander. We don't do busy.
I got to move. That sounds amazing. We don't do busy.
Yeah, it's life is really great. I think the sun. One friend said, I think the sun gives you your warmth, and I could definitely say, yeah. It's we're busy, but I mean, when I visit the U.S., wow, are you guys busy?
We're busy for no reason, really. Angel, I think the reason that we're busy is because we're programmed to think that if you're not busy, you're somehow a failure. Honestly, I really believe that. There's so many people that brag about how busy they are. Look at my calendar. Look at my schedule. I have this. I have that. I'm like, oh, great. You're miserable, aren't you? And they're invariably they admit begrudgingly, yeah, I kind of am. I'm not doing what I like to do. Which I think is really cool about your particular podcast, because you've interviewed hundreds. It's well over 1,000 people, correct?
Yeah, we've just crossed 1,100 conversations. I think it's just about 11 at the time of this, 1,158 around there. So yeah, it's and again, yours comes up, right? Just like you spoke, the choice is yours, right? The people that decide to be busy, the choice is yours, right? I loved the name of your podcast when I saw it too. Did you say the name of the podcast though?
Yeah, it's The Topic Is Yours.
But yours is, for me, your own unique real self.
Mm-hmm.
So when Phil connected us and I saw the topic is yours, I told my wife, wow, look at this. The topic is yours. Now, you didn't brand yours as your own unique real self, but after having so many conversations, that was the thing I came up with, a workbook that is called Yours, Your Own Unique Real Self. Now, when you speak of the topic is yours,
mm-hmm.
Does it surround that?
It does typically. What we try to do here, Angel, is get people on that have interests that I think would be interesting not only to myself but to the audience. And so what we try to do is get a diverse group in here, discover what it is that makes them tick, and we've had all types. We've had people that have flown around the world as an airline attendant, a flight attendant. We've had people that were heavily involved with music, other people in various ways because they enjoy it. We've also had a former Disney princess in here because she loves Disney. She grew up loving Disney, and she always wanted to do it, and she found a way to do it. And so that's what I love about your podcast as well, and that's where I was going with this, is you find a way to you connect with people and discover what it is that they like, why it's meaningful to them, and then you find a good way, a really excellent way, to pull from that and give them information on themselves that maybe they haven't even discovered on their own. Because I've listened to a few, and I'm constantly impressed with the way that you do that. So I think that's really, really neat and a huge skill.
Hey, thanks a lot. I really think, though, just like you, the audience that is listening is important, but then the person that we're speaking to, having that conversation with, it's really important that we connect with them, isn't it?
It absolutely is, yeah. I mean, because that's why they're there, and you have to find a way, you have to dig in there and, again, see how can I make this person open up, and you've figured that out. You talk to them about what they want to talk about, and you ask compelling questions, and you get that great content. And so I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
Love it. Hey, well, I'm a fan of your voice. I heard your voice on your podcast. It's like, wow, this guy is amazing. And then you had your co-host with you, right? Or are you the co-host?
Well, hey, thank you so much. Clint is he's definitely a co-host at times. His primary role is the producer, and believe me, that is a handful because I don't really help him very much there at all. And then on occasion I will throw him under the bus when the time is right. I'll say, hey, what do you think about that, Clint? And then he has to scramble to the microphone and stop messing with the levels. So we have a good time with that. But then he always pays me back in post. Somehow he takes a quote out of context. He makes fun of me, and we just have a great time. So it's cool. It's really cool.
I love it. I love it. I enjoyed listening to the previous podcast. Wow.
Well, man, thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thanks a lot. And Clint does too. Yeah. So, hey, I've got a couple questions. I mean, obviously, you've interviewed, by my count, it's like you said, it's well over 1,000. I'm going to go ahead and say 2,000 because I like to exaggerate. But what sort of patterns? Again, you've interviewed so many. What sort of patterns have emerged? Have any emerged that have caught your attention after interviewing so many people?
Yeah, most definitely. I didn't understand it until I was looking at an interview by Oprah Winfrey. And she said at the end of every conversation, the thing that stood out is each person asked, was it good enough? Is it good enough? And they were basically saying, am I good enough? Speaking about themselves. I've seen that pattern emerge where every person that comes on, be it the person that we see as super successful in our mind, or the person that is just about to be successful or living that type of life where they're on the grind, doing everything they believe the other person did to be successful, each person comes off with that mentality. Was that good enough? Am I good enough? And that pattern has definitely been there. One other thing that was a bit spooky a few times, so I had this conversation with a guy before, Nick Snap. He's in Florida. Met him this year, face to face, which was another story. But yeah, I spoke to Nick and asked him his earliest childhood memory. He told me about the fact that he fell into a pool, and he almost drowned. He was under there for like 7 minutes. So I guess he did drown, right? He was under there for like 7 minutes. Right. His neighbors saw him. They fished him out, performed CPR. He came back, right? Which, I mean, thankfully, he came back. And then I went, knocked out, which is fell asleep. And then my wife woke me up, missed the appointment I was supposed to have, and then jumped on to another person, which is this young lady. And, I'm speaking to her, had my voice all, speaking as good as I'm not croaking, and I asked her, what is her earliest childhood memory? So she said, her earliest childhood memory is her falling into a pool. Wow. And she was under there like 6 to 7 minutes. Wow. And she saw angels. And, she felt as though they pushed her up. And of course, she lived as well. So I said, what? What did you just say? So I was like, do you know Nicholas Snap? Do you know Nick Snap? And she said, no. She said, excuse me? And then I had to explain it. And of course, all of that is live on the podcast because it was really fascinating. And that was something that occurred, one. And secondly, the other thing that I saw is like a day would have trends. I would get up and have conversations, and the day would have a theme there. Yeah. So those were things that, and I was all like, my antennas were up to see what could occur during this period of time, how it would impact my life, what would it change? Because I always believe that the things that surround you make you. Yeah. Right. And yes.
So you've interviewed so many people, and what we're going to do is, folks, as always, go to our website because we're going to have a link to Engel's website, and any information that he wants me to pass along to you, we'll put it there. So information on the book, everything else. But I encourage you to go check out his website, subscribe to his podcast, because I think you'll really enjoy it. I mean, it's great stuff. Angel, what's been the biggest waste of time for you for this project?
I've never looked at anything as a waste of time. I could say things that have irritated me in the process. In the beginning when we were getting people, it was a bit slow. So what happened is we were doing emails. And I think that was irritating, getting responses But then I jumped onto Facebook, and that is where things really spiraled when we built momentum through that model. So yeah, if I needed to put my finger on one waste of time, I would say in my process, when you look back, you see that the emails were really failing in terms of if I needed to get to my goal, the responses I were getting via that medium, I would not have been able to connect with so many other people compared to what was created through Facebook's groups. And leaders in groups really like building momentum and showing tremendous support once they came onto the podcast.
So again, cheated by using Facebook, which is again a great idea, right?
Yeah,
that's how you and I connected. We never would have connected.
Which is amazing. Yeah, great friends, right?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love how whenever you and I speak, you always refer to me as champion. Makes me feel great, Angel. Thank you.
Yeah, I do believe it. I do believe it. You know, everyone is a champion,
right.
And there's a champion that lives inside of you, begging to be freed, right? And that definitely occurred when Phil connected us again. Phil Klutz,
great guy,
and
great guy.
He a champion, right? And
yes.
He and his son, Friday was my birthday, and they sang happy birthday. I was like, wow, what more could you get from a relationship?
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah,
happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Happy birthday to you too.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Angel, I'm going to steal a couple of your questions here as we close. The first one is, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Sure. I was sitting in my parents' bedroom on their bed foot, and I was looking through a window, but not looking. It was in an easterly direction, and it's a main road. So it's the main road. I'm looking through there, and I remember I had a book in my hand. I was known to always have a book in my hand, and I was sitting there very much aware of everything that was happening, but very contented by being with myself. So I was hearing my cousins who were playing outside and just being contented. I was really contented with myself, like just sitting there in silence.
Like a true islander. I love it. That's a very pretty, and I'm sure there's a deeper, I'm sure we could, so here's what you do. When somebody says something like that, you offer an interpretation, and it never ceases to blow me away. I cannot offer an interpretation to the level that you can, unfortunately. So I will just say, you've always been a scholarly chap. You were holding a book as a young man, looking out the road, plotting your future, but being content with where you are every single day while still striving forward. How's that sound?
Wow. Well done, my friend.
All right.
Wow.
Man, I think we're just going to end it right there.
That was
good.
Great.
Oh, good. Okay, final question, and it's a cheat. Do you believe in God?
I do.
I knew you did. I love that. Angel, you are the best. You are a true champion, and I really appreciate you making some time for us this beautiful evening. Thank you again.
My pleasure.
All right, Angel. We'll talk to you soon. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. Stick around. Clint and I are going to continue on right after this.
You have chosen the Topic Is Yours podcast.
What's your favorite kind of melon?
Your source for sophisticated conversation.
The most rudimentary machine is probably going to be better than me, but...
For the discerning listener.
All right, anyway, this is awkward and weird.
And thought-provoking questions.
Kristen Chenoweth, hot or not?
That will enlighten the listener's perspective.
Is it kind of like the going back in time in a way? I mean...
Kind of, but it's like going into the future.
Good day.
We're gonna open the mailbag. We're gonna check some mail. Mail time.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. Very excited. We've got Courtney, our streaming correspondent. brand new to the show. Thank you for being with us, Courtney.
Welcome.
We wanted to, Clint and I had this idea. We're like, man, Courtney is so cool and so funny, and we like her so much. We want her on this show. And we thought, what can she do? She could do so many things. But we did not realize at the time, but she's an expert at all the streaming services.
That's true.
What's coming, what's going,
That's
what
right.
to watch,
when
what to avoid.
When you don't have cable, you got to do something.
Well, who has cable anymore?
I don't know.
Cable is so our parents' generation. Am I right?
That's true. Yeah.
I think Matlock does. I don't.
Yeah, those Yellow Rose amp guys, they stick around, do point-to-point wiring, and break out the antenna and steal cable from their neighbors. Such a bunch of degenerates. So, Courtney, thanks for being here.
Welcome.
All right, so what do you got for us this week, Courtney?
Okay, so I think that there are two kinds of people. And the first kind is the person that knows everything that's coming to Netflix, and then there's a second person who doesn't care, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I totally care, mainly because I like to watch TV shows. So do you like TV shows or movies?
I love both, but I tell you what, I'm a big TV show fan.
Okay, me too.
You know, because then you just stream it over, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. A couple months later, you're through season 3.
Couple months, yeah.
Or whatever.
Depends on how fast you watch it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, right. When the kids go to bed. That's when I watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe hours. Okay, well, I like TV, and I think there's a whole bunch of junk on Netflix.
Yeah, there's
junk.
There's
like, weird documentaries, and I don't know. There's probably no sports. Is there sports? I don't know.
No. I mean, maybe some 30 for 30 ESPN documentaries.
I don't know what that means.
Well, they're cool.
Okay.
Typically.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, if you look online, there's all these articles about what's coming, what's leaving. So you have to hurry if something's leaving.
Right.
Like one time I was watching the X-Files, and then the next day it was gone, and I was like on season 6.
There's like 30 seasons.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's no good. So you have to make sure you are up to date on all of the things that are coming.
For sure.
Which is what I'm going to tell you. So I'm kind of like an expert, really.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Maybe. Well, I'm sure we're totally going to agree on shows. For example, did you know that the 6th season of Call the Midwife is coming? I love that show.
Do you?
Do you know what that show's about?
No, I've never seen that show.
Well, midwives, right? Doesn't that sound interesting?
No.
Why?
Well, that's just
It's
weird.
a great show. It's British.
Who's a midwife? What is this? Come
British
on.
people. I mean, it's like set in the 50s. It's awesome.
What, the 1750s?
No. It's going to be so good. You should watch it. Okay, so not that one. Okay, let's see. We've got...
Well, you're really strong in your convictions there.
I love that show. It's the best show.
Okay, good.
Also, Fuller House.
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah.
Did your wife watch that?
She did. She actually was not a fan.
What?
Yeah, she just didn't like it. She was like, they deviated too much from the original. I was like, well, it's been 20 years. But apparently it was just too much for her.
That's true. Well, it's a pretty good show.
Is it really?
Well, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
No, dude, hey, Courtney.
Yeah.
If you like it,
I do like it.
I'm going to give it a shot.
How could you not like it?
What makes you like it?
I mean, it's my friends, right? Like DJ Tanner. No? You guys? No?
Sure, I know TJ.
I'm a little...
DJ. Yeah, we're buddies.
Okay, let's just move on. Let's
What?
something that you guys are like. Okay, you guys watch
The
Gotham?
Twins?
Gotham? Anyone?
I've seen the previews for that. Yeah.
Okay, my husband watches it. It seems scary.
So Gotham, it looked amazing, but then the feedback that was like kind of I saw on the internets was like, a little boring, a little slow.
I'd say. I mean, I'm not going to watch it. I'm watching Fuller House, so.
Yeah,
whatever.
well, if you're watching Fuller House, Gotham's definitely not for you.
No. Okay, well, there's some good movies coming.
Let's hear it.
Okay, one of my favorite movies ever.
Okay.
Ever, Dead Poet Society.
Oh man,
You
I love that.
it?
I love that movie.
I know, it's so good.
It's a great movie.
I know. So you
Oh,
can't beat that.
Captain, my Captain. Hello.
I know, exactly. Okay, so, and also Jaws.
Jaws is coming?
Yeah. You know you love Jaws, too.
Oh, Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a terrible movie.
Jaws 2 or Jaws?
Just Jaws.
What's the matter with you, Courtney?
It's scary. I don't like scary.
Well, it's not that scary.
There's a shark, and it's huge, and its mouth, and it's scary.
You know what's so great about that movie?
No.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is.
What?
The fact that it is so scary, yet you don't see the shark until like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Oh.
Until then, you just hear the theme. And what?
Jaws 2 is coming. And Jaws 3 and Jaws the Revenge. Did you know that there were that many of them?
They're kind of like the Rocky movies.
Oh.
Yeah, they just
I haven't
keep
seen those
on
either.
going. Yeah. You didn't see the Rocky
No.
movies?
But Dead Poet Society, I did see that.
No, good job.
I know, it's a
Good
good
job.
movie. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Lots of really boring things, so you can just skip those. Okay. Newsies, the Broadway musical. I saw it on Broadway.
Oh, you did?
Actual Broadway. Yes, you're gonna love it. Do you
Why?
like Newsies? Is Newsies?
I've never seen it.
What's wrong with you?
Well,
I mean, there's guys singing and dancing.
you know,
It's so
Clint.
great.
Clint is on this as well. He's in front of the mic, but he's just laughing at me.
Clint's
You
not
like
a big
Newsies.
Broadway guy. No, I'm not a Newsies guy.
I feel like
It's
I've been on
music?
an island here, and Clint's just watching me
You
drown
guys
or
don't even
something.
know. Clint, you know you like Newsies, right?
If that's true, I don't know it. So sorry.
He likes Newsies. Don't you worry about him. He secretly got. He actually wrote that down when you said it. So what's the date for Clint?
Hold on. I don't
Check
know.
out Newsies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, September 5th. So you're good. You can go on right now to Netflix and watch it.
When I get
so
home.
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good deal.
Okay, let's see. I'm sure there's something else that would be really good for you guys.
So Courtney, what do you like? Okay, besides
Musicals?
beyond midwife dramas and stuff,
Musicals.
musicals.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're so great.
So what are you watching right now on Netflix?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not really watching anything on Netflix right now.
What in
Seriously,
the world?
I'm watching Hulu.
You said you were an expert.
Well, you know, you have to shop around, right? There's a lot of different shows to watch.
There are. What other streaming services do you have? Are you a Netflix or Amazon Prime or
Yeah.
Hulu?
Isn't everybody?
That's a good point. I know I am.
We just got Hulu, and it was the best day ever.
Really?
Yeah, so exciting.
But here's my problem with Hulu is you still get commercials. Who's paying
Not if
who
you
here? That's my
pay
question.
Extra.
So
$3
you
more
pay.
dollars.
Come on.
It's worth it.
It's
Totally worth it.
It's $8 and you still watch commercials, right?
Yes.
That's stupid.
$3 more. So great.
Okay, fine.
I did it the other day. I was like, I cannot watch another commercial, and it's the same commercial every time. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you should get Hulu, but I'm totally watching Catfish on Hulu.
What's Catfish?
You have to know what Catfish is. What?
Please educate me. I don't.
Yeah. Do you know what it means to be catfished?
No.
Oh my goodness. What year were you born?
1980.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
So you've never watched it. You watched it on TV.
80.
You've
No.
never watched Catfish. Okay, so to be catfish means that you're talking with someone on the internet and they're not who they say they are.
Oh, yeah. That's happened to Clint.
Dave has another name for that, but he's very well familiar, I'm sure.
I doubt
He's
it.
trying to get some Bitcoin.
I seriously doubt it. Anyway.
It's a
So
great
there's
show.
a show about being catfished.
Well, I don't know if it's a great show, but it's interesting.
Clint wrote it down. He's excited. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so with the musicals.
With some what?
Musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. What else you got? Anything good?
Well, I've been watching a lot of shows. It's a little bit crazy, actually. I mean, did I mention that I love to watch TV? I do. So, let's see.
You know what I like to watch?
What?
I'm watching this right now.
What?
And I've seen it. I mean, my wife and I watch it all the time because it's just an easy go-to. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned, when the kids are asleep or kids are awake, you're kind of limited on your options.
Right.
So we just crank up The Office.
I love
Crank
The
up
Office.
The Office.
The Office is such a great show.
Give yourself 20 minutes. You got a great episode under your belt. Give yourself another 20 minutes. You got another one. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
It's
Yeah.
just awesome.
That's
I
true.
love it.
My
So-
husband and I watch all of them.
Oh,
maybe
they're
5 times.
They're fantastic. So we started it like midway through season 2. We're up to midway through season 3. It's been a couple
Nice.
weeks, and I just love that show.
Me too.
That and the Great British Baking Show.
That's my favorite show.
High
Are you
five!
kidding?
I'm not
You
kidding.
were making that up.
I'm not
That
kidding.
is my favorite show.
If you listen to any of our previous episodes, which I know you're working
Totally
towards that,
have. Yes, of course.
maybe you missed the fact that I talked about the Great British Baking Show as being an awesome show.
The best show.
I
the
love
people
it.
are British.
Yeah.
They're baking. You don't have to bake. You can just watch them.
And
It's
I
so
get
great.
hungry every single time.
And they're so cute. And
No, I
British.
wouldn't go that far. No,
They're so
they're
cute.
not cute.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
I'm into whatever. They're wonderful people, I'm sure. Never mind.
Fine.
Okay.
This is the best show.
It is a
It's
great
my
show.
favorite show.
So what else? Anything? You mentioned I saw a thing for Seinfeld. He's got something coming out.
Oh, yeah.
here
He
in
has a
couple
new
days.
movie coming out.
A
Jerry
movie?
Before Seinfeld. Seinfeld. Well, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Is
It's
it
coming on Netflix.
Yeah.
But you can watch Seinfeld, actual Seinfeld, on Hulu,
fantastic?
which is a good one to watch if you're just going to watch a little bit at a time.
Oh yeah, it's a
And
great
there's
one.
about 1 million episodes of it. So
All of them great.
that's true.
Yeah. So what's the deal with this Seinfeld movie? Anything that I need to be aware of?
I don't know. I watched the preview. Have you watched it?
Yeah, it looked like just kind of
Jerry
some stand up.
looking older. Old. Fine. He looks old.
He still got it.
Yeah, but he looks old.
Okay.
That's all. It looks good. If
He
you like
does look-
stand up.
Yeah. Okay. Clint, what you got, man? Anything?
Last Chance You. Have you seen it?
No.
No, it's If you didn't know what 30 for 30 was, I'm not surprised you haven't heard of this
something
one.
about football?
It is about football. It's solid, though. Did you like Friday Night Lights?
Yes.
Okay, this is like a realer, grimier version of Friday Night Lights. It's good. I like it. And it was real life.
Grimier, huh?
Grimier.
That sounds great.
I know.
But Newsies, the musical, on the other hand, also sounds good.
That's really grimy.
Not grimy.
Awesome. All right. Well, Courtney.
Yes.
Excellent first job. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll see you again soon because we want to get an update on Newsies and being catfished and the midwife. So how many babies did they deliver on that show?
A lot.
A lot of babies. All right. Can't wait to tune into that one. All right. This has been a great show. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Until then, this is Clint, Dave, and Courtney signing out. You know, Clint is on this as well. He's in front of the mic, but he's just laughing at me.